from the Knitting Unicorn podcast, and welcome to episode 2. It doesn't feel like episode 2 because I did Vlogmas, or most of Vlogmas. It feels like episode 20, but it is technically only episode 2. So welcome back. I hope you had a great holiday season. I am kind of glad it's over. It is freezing here in New Hampshire. We got a huge snowstorm and it's been in the negatives. It was -9 when I went out this morning. Now it's 12 degrees and it feels like we're having a heat wave. So weird. Why do I live here? I don't know. But I have a bunch of things to show you. I have a couple FOs. I have a hoe. I have a bunch of whips. And I have a few acquisitions, stash enhancement, but it's really just Christmas presents that I got, and I haven't podcasted since Christmas. I didn't even do any short Vlogmas anything, so we're gonna go through all that stuff, and I think I might have an announcement, so we'll see. So let's start with FOs. So the first one, I talked about this in my first episode, and I did the Hohi Fall Cow, and for that I decided to do the Pure Joy shawl. And I don't have that pattern with me. Do I? No. I'll try to stick a picture in it, but most of you have seen it already. And it's a really nice shawl. It's fingering weight. I have a whip that's also fingering weight, so I know I'm going to say this and then you're going to see the whip and be like, Rebecca, what the hell are you talking about? But I'm kind of over fingering weight shawls. I don't like the way they look. No, not the way they look. I don't like the way they feel. I find that I don't know what happened recently, the past year or two, but this explosion of fingering weight garter stitch patterns. And I've done a bunch and I'm kind of getting sick of them. And I think that they're really thin. And maybe if you live in a warm climate, they're great. But I just don't know if I like them. I like my shawls to be really big, and to make one of these shawls as big as I like them would be so much work. So I think I'm kind of off after this whip I finish, because I actually kind of like it. It's pretty. But I'm really more into DK and worsted right now. And this is, I think I showed this on a Vlogmas episode. If you didn't see it, I guess it's an FO. I wasn't going to talk about it. But this is the Paris Toujours shawl. And it's a worsted weight MCN. The pattern's actually, there's a version for fingering and there's a version for DK. I followed the DK pattern, but I used, technically this is a worsted. And the color never comes out nicely on this camera, but it's beautiful browns and greens, and I just love it so much. And I love this shawl. I have worn it almost every single day since I made it. And it's squishy and it's heavy and it's comfortable, and this is what I look for in a shawl. So back to the whip at hand, or the FO at hand, is the Pure Joy shawl. This is it. So it starts over here. You have this little garter tab here, and you worked down, and then when you got here you started doing these short row wedges. I like the short rows. I don't have a problem with short rows, but the fact that it's garter and fingering, it got kind of monotonous. And I also, if you're familiar with the pattern, that bottom wedge is supposed to be, excuse me, can we not do that right now? Can we take a break? Okay, no squeaks. No squeaks. The bottom wedge is supposed to be whatever your stripe color is. The bottom wedge is supposed to be all that color. I completely lost track of where I was in the pattern, and I thought I was on wedge 5. There's 6 wedges, and I got to the end of it, and I checked the pattern, and I was at wedge 6, and I had done it in the CYMK color. I'll show that in a second. And quite frankly, you know, each one gets longer and longer and longer and longer and longer. It's really long. I'm 5'1", and I am holding it a couple inches in arm span, so it's probably 5.5 feet long. I really did not want to do another wedge, and I did not want to rip it back. So I decided to leave it as is. It's still really pretty, and if you didn't know that that bottom panel was supposed to be a different color, you would never know. And then I decided that I'm kind of glad I did that, because Mary from BIRCH DYEWORKS, I've talked about this before, she dyed me up this purple yarn to go with the CYMK for this shawl. And so it's kind of a one of a kind, I think. You know, I don't know if she made notes so she could do it again, I don't know. But it's this gorgeous purple, and everything's showing up kind of dull on my camera today. It's really bright. It is not muted at all. It is super bright purple with tonal, and it's got some pinks in there. Wow, it's really looking muted. I don't know what it looks like for you guys, but it's super bright. It's like a royal purple. It's beautiful. And then this is the CYMK, and it's got bits of that purple in it. So, you know, I think that the colors are beautiful, and now I have all of this purple left. I have all of this CYMK, and I'm pretty sure I have another skein of it somewhere. So then I'm thinking, stop squeaking. This would be an awesome color work project. I was thinking of doing, I forget what it's called, I'll try to stick a picture in, but it's a hat with little birds on it around a motif and their color work. And I thought this would be really pretty for that, or some sort of color work pattern. I don't know if it's going to be a hat or gloves. I'm not sure, but I think it would be really pretty. There's also a chance that this gets worked into Sunset Highway sweater. I'm not sure. But I'm kind of glad that I have leftover yarn, because I really, really love this yarn. I love the colors, and I don't love the shawl. So I'm glad that I can work these colors into another project that might get more use. This may end up being gifted to somebody. The other thing is that even though it's really long, I mean, it's probably, well, this shawl is about this much longer. Not terribly longer, but it just has so much body to it. This one, when I put it on, stop! It just, I don't know, it just feels so teeny. I'm not this kind of shawl person. I mean, it might as well be a scarf. I don't want a scarf, I want a shawl. So that's my feeling on that. Maybe I should have done the other, a last wedge, a 7th wedge. Maybe it would be thicker, more comfortable or something. I don't know. I could always pick up the stitches and cast it on. We'll see what happens. Anyway, so that's that about the Pure Joy shawl. I wish I liked it more than I do. I do love the colors, and I am excited to use them for something else. Moving on. So my other FO, which I'm really excited about, one of my coworkers is a Washington Capitals fan, hockey team, and I mentioned this before, I think, but I did purchase the hat trick yarns from River City Yarns. Gosh, I want to say it was this summer. It was a while ago, and I finally got around to casting on socks. How gorgeous are these? None of my lighting looks right. So these are bright red and a bright blue and white stripes. Everything looks yellowy and muted. And I am sorry, and I will figure out why. But these are super bright. And they're just a vanilla sock, a shorty sock. I did an inch of rib, an inch of body before I started the heel. And then a rounded toe. Nothing fancy. And they're really sturdy. This yarn is thick and dense. So I think that they will wear really well. I think they'll last a long time. And I think that they're awesome. I'm really excited about them. I wish that the Boston Bruins colorway looked a little bit better, but I felt like the yellow wasn't quite right, so I didn't buy it. But these are awesome. And the skein, or the hank, is it? It's huge. It's like 550 yards or something. So I still have all of this. And I think I'm gonna make a hat as well to go with the socks. At the very least an ear warmer, but I definitely think I can get a beanie out of this. So that was awesome, and it's just a great, worth the money if you're interested. They have, I think, all the NHL hockey team colors, and they say that you can get a pair of socks or mitts and a hat out of them. There's also other patterns I have too for scarves and other things on the River City Yarns website. So if you didn't want to make socks and hats and things, there's other fun patterns. So that was a lot of fun to do, and they knit up really fast. So those are my FOs. I do have a hoe. I went to another yarn in Burlington, Massachusetts, before Christmas, right before Christmas. And, excuse me. And I purchased a skein of West Yorkshire Spinners The Croft. It's a Shetland tweed, 100% Shetland Island wool. Here's the tag. And the colorway I bought was called Merrifield, which is 761. And it's a pink and gray tweed. And I saw it and I had to have it. And then I decided it was definitely going to be mitts or mittens or something. And so one day I decided to just cast them on and make some fingerless mitts. This is the Tinsel Mitts pattern from ANDREA MOWRY. There is a slip stitch stripe here. You can kind of see it. I did these with a different yarn before. I showed them with a superwash DK and from BIRCH DYEWORKS, and you can see the slip stitch stripe much more clearly than you can in this. It kind of blends in a lot with the fuzziness and loftiness of this yarn, but I don't care. I still love them. They're really warm. And the pattern, if you don't know, there's 3 versions. There's a mitten, a fingerless mitt, and then there's a convertible. And I think I'm still toying with the idea, but I might turn these into the convertibles. All you do is pick up the stitches below this rib and then cast on some more, and you basically knit the top of the mitt so you can put it on and off. I have the second one started on the needles, but I have all these other things that I cast on, so we'll get to them when we get to them. But look at it, it's really pretty. It's a beautiful yarn. And I'm kind of sensitive to 100% wools. They tend to be a little itchy for me, and I don't think I could wear this as up against my neck. If this was a cowl or a shawl or a scarf or even a sweater that didn't have something underneath it, like I just don't think I could have it against my skin up here. I think it would be very itchy for me. If you're comfortable with a rustic yarn, it's beautiful. But as a mitt, it's great. Or even a hat, I think it would be nice. But I like it. So anyway, that's that. And we'll move on to whips. Put my shawl back on because it's freezing. I've had the heat cranked. It's just, ugh. Why do I live here? Oh, for the knits. That's why I live here. An excuse to wear all the knits. Okay, whips. So I have 3. That's not true. I have like 5, but I wasn't gonna show the sweater. I have my flax, my light flax sweater. I've shown it 100 times. I'm not gonna show it again. I was trying to work on that and get it done, but then I had some cast-on blackouts. I was on Instagram, and LOLIDIT and Web Street Knittery are doing a cal for the Lolo's mixtape shawl, which is a pattern that Jen from Webster, I don't even know. What is it? Webster Street Knittery, Jennifer Peck. She designed this for LOLIDIT yarn. And yes, it's fingering, but it's really cute. It looks like it's gonna be kind of wide. It's shaped very similarly to this shawl, where you start at one end and you go until you get a big triangle. And I love the shape of this, so I figured that I might be okay with this one. I also had just bought the HIPPO for HANUKKAH yarn from LOLIDIT, and I was looking through my stash, and I wasn't looking through it, I was thinking about it, and 3 yarns came to mind that I thought would be just perfect for this pattern. So I'll show you the pattern. It's called Lolo's Mixtape, and it's got like micro stripes, and then I don't know if there's a better picture in here. I don't know if you can see this, but there's baubles. So some of the stripes actually have baubles in them, and I thought that would be fun to do. I've done baubles with crochet, and I really like that, and I thought this would be fun. And then I thought, I have all this great yarn. So I put together the LOLIDIT HIPPO for HANUKKAH, which is this. It's the gray with the blue and yellow or gold speckles. And I thought that was great because I also had the Fool's Gold from HEDGEHOG, which is a gold with pink and blue and green speckles. But the gold in this and the gold in this are practically identical. So I thought, oh, these would be great together. And then I also got this Tango sock from Flying Fin Yarns in Nightfall, which is a navy. Again, my camera's weird. These are very vibrant colors. This is a bright gold with hot pink in it, and it looks like really muted today. I don't know why. But I will put some pictures in at the end that I've already taken that are much truer to the colors. So stay tuned for that because these are beautiful. Anyway, so I thought that this was an awesome combo, and I decided to just cast it on. Throw caution to the wind, forget about wanting to complete all these sweaters this year for the 2018 year of the sweater. Let's just cast on all the things. So here's where we are. So I started here, and you're increasing and decreasing to cause this effect. And then we've got some micro stripes with the navy, and then I just finished this first bauble section with the Lolo's LOLIDIT HIPPO for HANUKKAH. And those are my little baubles. Some of them keep trying to retreat back. I feel like it's one of those things that I'm going to be fidgeting with forever. It's a fidget shawl! I got a fidget shawl! But I really love the way it's coming out, and I hope I finish it in time. I have plenty of time. The cal doesn't end until like, mid-February. It's like 5 weeks, and this is not a difficult knit, and it's knit up pretty quick once you actually spend time on it. The problem is spending time on it, because I was also desperately trying to finish those socks because I wanted to give them to my coworker this week, and then I had a cast-on blackout, and I have this yarn that I've been dying to cast on to make socks with, and we were talking about socks at our Sip and Stitch like last week or whatever, and talking about doing afterthought heels and things like that, and I've been really wanting to do some afterthought heels, and then I was watching Stranded yarn podcast, and eventually this will go back. And she was talking about how she got her sock machine and she was knitting up all these tubes of socks and then putting in the afterthought heels, and I just cast on another pair of socks. So I have the oh my god, whose yarn is this? Everybody hold the phone. There it is. Scrumptious Pearl in PYT. Pretty young thing on Glam Base, which is gold stellina. Look at the sparkle. So it's a hot pink, gray, and beige self stripe. And I have it on my little needle cozy right now. I haven't gotten very far. I just cast it on. Actually, I should take it out if there's barely enough to see. I just got the cuff. So I'm going to knit a big tube, and then I'm going to follow the pattern for Jen Stack's Snip Snap socks, and there's a little bit of a pattern or a texture on the front of the leg, and then you do basically an afterthought heel and toe, and I think it's gonna be awesome, and I think it's gonna be so much faster. So I'm really excited about that, and this yarn it's so squishy. I don't know, when you see the pictures of these gobstopper balls, you don't think they look like softballs and they're going to be hard, but this is so mushy. Excuse me, dog. Mine. So that was my second whip. Oh, the first was yeah, okay. And then, so I think I talked about it before, but I'm in my local yarn store is Pintuck and Pearl in Exeter, New Hampshire. They are moving to Northampton next month to a bigger space, yay! But they have this thing called the Mystery Yarn Tour, and it's like 10 months of the year, or something like that. And each month there's a new pattern and a new yarn to try. And we go and we all have like a big kind of sip and stitch kind of thing, and we do a new pattern. So we had that today. And I didn't really intend to cast on a new pattern, but today was the yarn tour brunch. So today I got a skein of Brooklyn Tweed QUARRY, say Targhee Columbia wool, and this is Geode. The color is called Geode. I didn't realize that Brooklyn Tweed is spun up here in New Hampshire. Huh. Fascinating. It is a single ply, chunky weight. If you don't know, if you're not familiar with it, this is called Geode, and again, I'm sorry that my colors are looking weird, but it's actually a bluishy, purpley color, and it has some like little bits of purple in it. I don't know if you can see those. They're hard to see, but it's not gray. It's a bluey purple color, and it's very squishy, and it's not itchy. It's definitely a rustic wool, but it's not itchy. Unlike the Shetland tweed, I could have this probably close to my face, I think. But it is a single ply, so it is a little bit delicate to knit with. And then the pattern is the Barnaby hat, the Brooklyn Tweed Barnaby hat. And I will put a picture in because I don't have one. This time we tried something new and we're doing digital downloads. So it's in my Ravelry library. I will stick a picture in. But again, it's the Barnaby hat from Brooklyn Tweed. And all I did was cast on and get a couple rows going. And you can see it is very thick and mushy and beautiful. It's a cabled hat, so it'll be fun to do some cables. This is the first time I've done a ribbed cable cast on. So it was interesting and definitely a little bit of slow going. I knit tightly, and this is not a yarn that you want to knit tightly. So it was a bit challenging for me to cast this on. It took like at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half to cast on 84 stitches, and it's so embarrassing, but I was learning a new technique and I was working with this very finicky yarn, but now that I'm going with the ribbed cuff brim of the hat, it's going pretty quickly, and I think it's going to be really nice. I don't know. I'm probably going to give this hat away. It's a beautiful cabled hat. It's beautiful, but it's definitely not my style. I think everything else that we've done for the Mystery Yarn Tour has definitely been my style, and I've kept it. This is the first thing where I saw the pattern and I was like, it's pretty, but I'm not going to wear it. I think my husband might wear it, but I think I'm probably going to give it to my brother. I think he would like it a lot. So, and I think this is a nice color for him. So this will probably be a gift, but I could tell you right now, I will not be working on this right now. Normally, I come back from those Mystery Yarn Tours and I knit up the rest of the pattern that night, because they're usually short, one skein projects. But I'm so in love with my sock that I don't even want to knit this right now. I want to knit my sock. So I look forward to showing you this when it's done. It'll probably not be for at least another month, so probably in a few episodes of this podcast. So that's that. This is my first time working with Brooklyn Tweed. I eye it all the time in the store, and I love their patterns, but I've never actually purchased it and worked with it. So I have a project in mind, and I think I might use some of this for it next time. But that's for another episode. So, my last, but here's that's what I was looking for. This is just the code for the hat, so I'm not going to show you that. But that's the Barnaby hat, so that's what I'm making. And there's a DK version and a chunky version. I'm doing the chunky version. Maybe I would like the DK version more for myself, but we'll see. And my last whip is not knitting. Oh my god! It is embroidery! I bought this kit online on Etsy from Cozy Blue Stitch Club. And it's cozybluehandmade.com, and there's an Etsy shop. And this is the phases of the moon. And it's just got this little bloom of the paths of the moon, I guess. And then there's the little moon phases. And it's really cool because the little kit comes with everything you need. It has the needle, it has the thread, it has, excuse me, a little instruction card. This is what it should look like when it's done. And I'm just doing the running stitch right now of this bloom, and then I'll get into the moons themselves, which is a satin stitch. And I'm not the greatest embroidery person, but this I really like because it tells me exactly what to do, and it's kind of making me a little excited about doing more embroidery with the little hoops and stuff. So we'll see how this goes. And then I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do with it. You know, I could just mush in these bits and then just hang it as a hanging, but I also thought it might be a fun little pillow or a giant pin cushion or something, so I might do something else with it after I'm done. I don't know. If you have any ideas of what you think would be fun to do with this when it's done, other than leaving it in the hoop and using it as decoration, put it in the comments below. I would love to hear what you think would be fun to do with this. Like I said, my first thought was pillow or giant pin cushion. It's just a square, so. But I love it. I love the moon. I'm a big moon person. I'm a look at the moon person. And so I love moon phase things, so. That was exciting. I was sitting up here after wrapping Christmas presents, and I don't know what came over me, but I took it out and just started doing it. I had no intention of beginning it at that time, but I just did. So I guess we're on to acquisitions. I normally call it stash enhancement, but I heard someone calling it acquisitions the other day on a podcast, and I like that a lot. I don't know why, it seems so formal. So I'm going to call it acquisitions as well. Only one of these things I purchased myself. Everything else was Christmas presents, mostly from my mom. So the first thing I'll show you is the thing I bought. I just got it yesterday in the mail. I got a fringe supply field bag. I love this bag. I get it now. I get the hype. I understand why everyone's obsessed with it. I am now obsessed with it. I put my pins on it. Like every other knitter on the face of the earth right now. Makes me feel kind of basic, but whatever. It's huge. I got my shawl. Probably put a small sweater project in here. I think like my light flax would fit in here because it's not long and it's fingering weight sweater. I definitely think that would fit in here. It's got this big pocket here where I keep my pattern, and then it's got all these little pockets here. I had some DPNs in here. I have my little pencil in here. Little strap to carry it, and the drawstring. I never been a fan of the drawstring project bags, only because I don't know, I never really liked them, and I felt like my stuff was always going to fall out, but I like this. I like this a lot. I am going to buy it in every color, and if you don't have one, you should go get one immediately. I don't know how I lived this long without a field bag. So, yeah. So, that's that. My next acquisition is also a bag. I got this from Carol from A Single Strand. It's their wonton bag, wonton sock bag. And it's a little triangle shape with a little strap. And it zips down. And it holds a skein of fingering weight and some needles you could get in here. You could get some notions in here. I got from Amber for Christmas, I got this knit kit. Honestly, I didn't think I wanted one of these, and then she gave it to me, and this is the greatest thing ever. It has a counter, it has a stitch fixing tool, it has a little yarn cutter thing, a measuring tape, and then on the back here we've got, you lift this up and you've got your needle gauge, and then there's a pair of scissors, there's a darning needle, there's some stitch markers and some point protectors, and I have stuck some other stitch markers in there as well. I love this. I just throw this in my bag and go. I can fit this in here with my yarn and my needles, and there we go, sock project for knitting in the wild. Super cute. But the best part about this, it's Christmas kitties! This fabric was really hard to find. So one of our friends, Lisa from Flying Fin Yarn, she really wanted it, and I don't know where they found this, but I could only find it in the UK, and the shipping for it was outrageously expensive. It was almost as much as the fabric alone, so it was like not worth it to buy it. So I don't know where they got it, but it's super exciting because the kitties, Christmas kitties. And so I got that, and you can get a wonton bag too. I don't know if you can get this fabric, but A Single Strand Studio is their Etsy shop, and they have lots of wonton bags in awesome patterns. They also have the line knitting bag, which I talk about all the time. Line knitting bag, so you can just put it on your wrist and just knit as you're walking around when you're standing in line. That's why it's called a line knitting bag. And they have regular wedge-shaped bags and stuff like that too, and gorgeous needle cases. I know I talk about them all the time. They are my best friends, but check them out. So that's that. And then for Christmas I got from my mom also, well, another bag. This is a quilt knit craft. Oh, I believe it's on Etsy. I'm not sure. But it's a unicorn bag. Do you not love this? Look at it. It looks a lot like the unicorn from my Vlogmas intro. So I love this so much, and it's a good sock size. I have sock in there now. Definitely like a sock sack. And this is attached, so it's pretty sturdy. And it's interfaced, so it stands up nicely on its own. So I like this bag a lot. She also got me these knitting needles. These are ridiculous. They are from Darn Yarn, and they're just a size 9 knitting needle. I think they're bamboo, but they are crazy smooth. I don't think that yarn would stick to these like they do on some of my other bamboo needles. But more importantly, look at them. The little puppies! So cute. I love these. So I need a project that calls for size 9 needles so I can use these because they're adorable. And they get to sit here in my little needle jar thing because they're so cute. Then she also got me a couple yarns from Done Roving Yarns, and they are in Maine, I believe. This is the Frolicking Feet, and it is a superwash merino fingering weight yarn, and the color is Lady Slipper, and it's gorgeous purpley mauve pinky colors. I love this. And it's Maine made, 480 yards. That's a lot. So this is beautiful yarn. I don't know what it's gonna be yet. probably socks, but it's beautiful. And then this was really cool. This is also from Done Roving Yarns, and this is also a sock weight. I can't find the little tag that was on it, but it's this might be the Frolicking Feet as well, sock base, but it's this little thing of yarn. But look at it. And I can't really take it out. Well, I can take the cover off. See that? Again, not nearly as bright. But I mean, this is like emerald green and almost tealy colors, and it goes all the way lighter and lighter and lighter until it gets to like a whitish color. This is gorgeous. It's really smushy. Yeah, this might have a blend in it because it's a little bit smoother and smushier than the other one. But what they've done is they've put it in this little container, all wound up for you, with this little sticker here, and this is the end of the yarn. So you have a beautiful center pull ball with a gradient. It's not even a gradient. I mean, it goes from whites and pinks to reds and oranges to green. I don't even know, but it's gorgeous. It's like rainbow yarn. I don't know what this is gonna be, but it's beautiful. If I make socks out of it, they won't match. So maybe it becomes a scarf or a hat. I don't know. It's beautiful. I love it so much. So thanks, Mom. And then she also got me stitch markers, and I can't find them. Oh, maybe they're in here. I have like 10 Notions pouches. Yeah, here they are. These are little sheepy stitch markers, and they are the cutest things I have ever seen. Ever. There was like 5 of them, but I'm just gonna show you 2. There was one black sheep. Oh, that's his butt. Here he is. Black sheep. And then there was like 4 white sheep. They are so cute. I love them. Little sheepies. So, got that. And that was cool. And I think that's it for stuff to show you. Yeah, I've been doing a lot of knitting. I have not been doing a lot of buying. I'm trying to be good. It's really hard. So I can buy more stuff at another day and time. I want to go head up another yarn in Bedford, Mass, and go crazy over there and buy a whole ton of stuff. So I'm saving my monies. But we're also going to Florida at the end of February, so I can't buy too much stuff, so I can go buy souvenirs.